Hey, what's up guys, this is Liam or Weagle on your Overwatch, back with a new video. Today we have a interview from Big Daddy Jeff himself, coming live from Blizzard. Eddie and FREEDO were allowed to go to an interview, so here I'm going to break it down and play things back for you guys. We currently cannot upload the full interview, and if that changes you will get it. So today I'm going to go through the questions asked and then I will play Jeff's answer to them questions. There's a bunch of YouTubers and other people asking these questions, and I'll link any of them I can find down below, but of course you won't be able to hear them until we get the full version up, hopefully sometime. We may be looking to try and interview other people in the community as well, so if you think you had any questions that you want knowing either from devs or teams, and we get to ask anybody, then we can ask some of your guys' questions too. Do note that a lot of this is about the Overwatch League and a few things about new heroes and meta balance. The first question that was asked to Jeff was actually about European teams and other teams from around the world in the Overwatch League and when we will be seeing them.
Well, with Overwatch, one of the things that's awesome is there's such a European presence for the game. Like, the amount of players in Europe who enjoy Overwatch is off the charts. And then you see it, if you've been watching the matches, how many European players are involved in the league. So we're really excited and interested in finding, more ownership opportunities overseas. If season 1 is successful, and I think everybody's realizing after this week, like, things are looking pretty good right now, hopefully we can really make something happen with some more owners. Obviously we're lucky to enjoy having the London Spitfire right now, but we obviously want to see more teams in Europe. We want to see more teams in Asia. I'd personally love to see a Canadian team. I think would be really cool too. So our assistant art director is from Toronto, and trust me, he's dying to make like the logo and the uniforms and everything for the Toronto team too. So I think it's all about at this point looking at the success of season 1, attracting team owners, and seeing where we're at for season 2.
The next question is actually about Overwatch League and the ambition of it, and as well as also involving other languages, including the region of South America too, and how to get them all involved within the Overwatch League.
Yeah, I think we want to be careful. Like, obviously Overwatch League is extremely ambitious in what it's trying to achieve. And there's a great investment going into it, both on behalf of Blizzard and the team owners, but there's also just making sure we don't bite off more than we can chew at one time. So everything we do here at Blizzard is iterative, and we always try to be better than we were last time. And I think with the season-based approach that Overwatch League is taking, as season 1 goes on, we're instantly looking at, like, okay, how can we make season 2 better holistically? Like, it was really fun yesterday. We had the whole dev team in the audience for the matches. We were going to go on Wednesday. We really want to be there for opening day. Would have been really cool, but we patched on Tuesday, and we're like, if we screw things up, if the patch is wrong or bad, then everybody's going to be here in Burbank and no one's going to be around to fix it. So we were able to come yesterday, and like, we already have this huge thread about like things we want to show on the screen or the way the characters look that we want to do differently. So that's just how we're wired and programmed, is even though things are awesome, how do you make things more awesome for next time? Yeah, absolutely. In fact, South America is extremely important to us. And one thing that's cool about Blizzard, and you guys are here visiting today, which is really awesome, I suggest you to read the little plaques around the orc, because it's got our company values. And at a lot of companies, they're just kind of like cheesy, nobody really takes it seriously type of things, but they're really important to us here at Blizzard. And one of those is think globally. We have, not only does Blizzard Central have a whole South American division that's just dedicated to developing the region, but every aspect of Overwatch has a South American aspect to it as well. And that's something that's really important to us. There's things like, how do we improve infrastructure just so the game plays better in the region, which isn't directly related to your question, but then also looking at how do we develop the player base there, and how do we start to see not only more pro players coming out of the scene from the region, but then also the big question being, you know, can we have a Central or South American Overwatch League team someday, which would be the dream. I mean, the dream of the league, and I hope we've proven that, is that we didn't want this to be a North American league, that we wanted to have teams overseas. And we enjoy that with, you know, London, Shanghai, Seoul, but what can we do past that? And I think a lot of us are thinking, you know, if season 1 can be really successful and we can prove to these team owners that, like, this is a really great opportunity, and everybody really believes in this concept of a global league, that we will start to see interest in places like Central and South America as well.
Next up, FREEDO asks about the new hero and tells Jeff to blink twice if it's a tank. He did not, though.
I have to, like, oh my God, I don't want to reveal any information. Or do I blink a lot? Did he blink 5 times? So the hero is super fun. Like, we're at that point where we go through a few stages when we're introducing a new hero to the game internally. At first, it starts off as a prototype, and we have these cordoned off play tests where the hero is, like, the whole point of the play test is to see if the hero is viable or not. But we shield the rest of the game from the hero, because if we're then, you know, playtesting a new map or something like that, and you've got this freakish, weird hero that's unbalanced, it starts to skew the feedback that we're having on the map. It's a very good sign when a hero enters the hero lineup, like we add it to the hero lineup fully, which means it's in every one of our playtests, which the new hero is at that point. The new hero is sort of ever present. We never test without that hero. So it's always available. So I think that's a really good sign. The more we make Overwatch, weirdly, the more difficult it becomes to add heroes to the game, because we keep adding additional content that each of those heroes is required to have. So it just takes us longer to put stuff in for those heroes. For example, when we initially launched the game, we didn't have sit emotes for our heroes, but now there's this expectation that every hero that comes out has to have a sit emote, or else, you know, it's somehow broken or whatever. So it takes us a little longer. We're now in that stage where we're finalizing how the hero looks. We are doing things like making skins for that hero, which is a really good sign. If we were going to change our mind, we wouldn't be making skins or doing that sort of thing. We're working on a bunch of story elements. You know, if you notice, when Moira came out, we had an origin story movie that we showed at BlizzCon. So there's all of that work is really happening. Probably the thing that makes me the most excited about this hero is sometimes when we're working on a new hero, we really struggle. And we've had this with a couple of heroes in the past where it's been very late before the heroes kind of clicked in our minds of exactly how it's going to work, and we're making kind of big dramatic changes until the end. This hero is super solid. And after a playtest, we always hear the comment like, yeah, that's an Overwatch hero. That's going to feel really great. So it's progressing awesome. And team's actually working overtime on the hero right now. And they're working really hard. But I think everybody's going to be really excited. I think it will be meta changing. I will go ahead and say that. So, yeah.
The next questions, I believe, were from the Overwatch Central guys, and they asked if Junkrat and Mercy are going to be changed much more, and where their inspiration came from, whether it's based on pros or community feedback.
No. The Mercy and Junkrat changes were based upon feedback that we had been feeling ourselves. I play a ton of Overwatch, and I have very strong opinions about, you know, how those characters feel to both play and play against. There's the community at large who's very vocal, and at no one time do I try to lump the community into one bucket. I think there are thousands of micro communities is what we're really talking about. There's not how the community ever feels about things. But there was a surprising amount of alignment about where we were with those two heroes in particular. And then there was a lot of feedback from the pros about how they were feeling about both of those heroes as well. And again, there was a lot of alignment. Then we go and look at things at, such as statistics and see how those heroes are performing, and everything is sort of in line at that point. How we felt, how the community or these thousands of micro communities all were feeling about things, how the pros felt, what the stats were telling us. It all seemed pretty obvious to us that some change was required in that direction. But I gotta say, and I'll get your question in a second, like the hero diversity of the past 2 nights of matches has been amazing. Like I've been super impressed. I think there's a naive community perception that perfect balance means all 26 heroes get played exactly equally all the time. And maybe this is me being a failure for saying this, but I don't believe that's reality. I don't believe, even if all 26 heroes were perfectly balanced, I don't believe in pro matches you would see all 26 heroes played equally. I think that's a little bit of a naive perception about how optimal, efficient pros approach video games. Yeah. Yeah. I'm fascinated in the past week seeing thread after thread pop up of how Reinhardt needs a buff. They haven't realized that yet entirely. And I think if you watch these matches the past couple nights, but literally people are saying, look at Orisa's play time, therefore Reinhardt needs a buff. And this is all very natural. We're not going to touch Reinhardt. He doesn't need a buff. Orisa doesn't need a buff. Orisa doesn't need a nerf. Everything is fine. He has, yes. And we were looking at one, actually, Team France. Oh, what was his name? Troma, yeah. He sent me an email this morning. He sent me an email. Actually, it's super helpful to us with the Twitch clips where not only did an Earth Shatter go through a shield, which was a bug, but then it drained his ultimate. And so that's something that we're looking into right now.
The next question's a really good one, and that's about the replay system. Are we going to be getting it in-game for the community to use in their own games, and will we be able to pick the perspective of any player that we would like to?
I think it's a great question. Right now, there are a couple things that we built specific for the spectating experience that we've used at World Cup and for Overwatch League so far. It includes what we call the instant replay system, which is what you're referring to, and also the stats, the web-based stats API, which I think is really interesting. It was a lot of fun watching the stats get surfaced during the matches over the past couple days and seeing that in play. We would absolutely like to bring these so the public could use them. Sometimes to make things happen in an expeditious way, the user-facing version of that is not always so nice. So I think before we brought it to the public, we would like to try to improve the experience to have it be something that players could actually wrap their heads around a little bit easier. It's not the most robust thing right now. The other thing to take into consideration, in particular with the replay system, is because we're running on an isolated tournament realm, there are certain things we can do from a technological standpoint that are not impactful to the whole service. We know that there's only 12 players playing at that one time, and there's only one group of observers using that functionality. So we don't have to worry about optimization or what happens when 35 million players all click on the thing at the same time. Right now, the instant replay feature wouldn't really be optimized or wouldn't really be viable for such a large audience. But obviously, we've talked about separate from instant replay is just watching match replays. And all of that is built on the same technology, and that's something that we've been trying to evolve towards for years at this point. People know that Overwatch has a replay system running at all times. The problem right now is it's not usable at scale to our entire audience, and also it's versioned by whatever patch you're on, which means if we were to patch tomorrow and you had a replay of last night's match, you would need yesterday's client, or else you wouldn't be able to watch it. And we know that's not a great user experience, so what we would like to evolve towards is, we know when players say we want replays, we know what's in their mind, and we don't want to just give them like, well, we checked the box that we gave you replay. We want to give them the replay system that they want, and that they're imagining, and we don't want them to have to worry about all the technical stuff. So it's going to take us a little while to get there.
This next question's a bit of a weird one, and it regards region locking teams.
This is probably a better question for Nate, who's our commissioner. I'm not sure if you guys are having a chance to talk with him at all. I'm going to give you the personal answer, not the official Overwatch League answer. I think the beauty of Overwatch League is that it's a global league and that it's not region locked. I think seeing the best players in the world on the best teams in the world is very interesting and compelling. I think it mirrors pro sports in a very positive way. So I like the way that the league works right now and that it's not region locked. I think it's exciting that, like last night, we all get to know who Pine is, this Korean player who, if we were region locked, we might not have all been paying attention to the New York-Boston game like we were last night. But every single American Overwatch player this morning is talking about a Korean Overwatch player, which I think is kind of amazing.
In this next question, Eddie actually got to ask about the patches that Blizzard do and whether they balance them versus live or matchmaking or pro play.
I think Season 1 is going to be very educational for both the Overwatch League staff and the Overwatch team staff. I think we're really learning at this point, and I want to see things solidify more. I want to get a feel for what it's like to run a live game alongside this league at the same time for a while. I'm also curious around Season 2 and the dates and the times. The way that the video game works is we have to be extremely out front of whatever players are seeing at any one time. We're literally working on content through, I think, May or June at this point, and we're in January right now. Like at this point, for us to patch in new content like in January is like we would have had to been done with it months ago for it to see the light of day. So we need to see the league solidify in a way where we have a real good sense of like, are the dates in Season 2 going to be similar to the dates in Season 1? And I think once we get a little bit further along in the maturity of the league and the live game itself, we can look at trying to sync things a little bit more and a little bit better. Right now, we're kind of learning how that all works.
Eddie also fit in at the end of this. What is Jeff's favorite Overwatch League team?
No. I love the sport of Overwatch, and I love all of our teams. Actually, that sounds like a total bullshit answer, but there's truth behind it because we got to take part of what was a really amazing experience as team owners started to invest in the league. We got to consult with every single team on their name and their logo. Because branding is very important to the Overwatch team. Like you see everything we do has a certain look and a certain style to it. And we really wanted the league to have our style and to really feel Overwatch. And it was so much fun. We multiple times we were talking to all of the teams about what they should name their team, what the colors should be, what the logos should be. And we were very lucky that the teams let us participate in that process with them. So weirdly, I have an affinity for all of them. And I know it sounds like total BS, but just like with our heroes, when you get to work creatively on sort of forming those things, you get really invested. And so when I see all of the, the league names and logos and colors, I have an instant sort of emotional reaction to it. So I'm more a fan of just great pro play more than anyone. Last night I wasn't rooting for any team in particular, and then you see like Pine popping off on McCree, and it's just, I didn't really know who Pine was before last night, you know, and now we all do. Like, he's a household name, you know, if you love Overwatch, and that to me is what the league is all about. And that had nothing to do with being a New York fan. It was just like, I'm a fan of the game and watching somebody play it at that level.
The last question asked was about fantasy teams. I know that there's some run online, but it looks like Overwatch League wants to be running some too.
I played fantasy hockey for, I think it was 15 years. I'm a huge NHL fan, and I love fantasy sports. Like I said, I played fantasy hockey for 15 years. I only won the league one time, and I did pretty terrible the other times. But like, as a game designer, it was really fun because the fantasy tools that you're given, you can really tweak how the league works, like how the draft works, how many positions are available, what stats count or don't count, you know, when you could drop players during the week or not drop players, how many players in a season you could drop. And it was funny because in the office, they used to always joke with me, like, because I was constantly paying attention to fantasy hockey, and I'm like, man, I'd love to design something like this someday. So with Overwatch League now a reality, and so many of us, like, I'm a hockey fan, but we have a lot of like NFL fans in the office, and there's constant fantasy pools going on. I think that's what all of us would love to get to eventually. It would be a lot of fun to do some sort of fantasy version of Overwatch League.
So guys, that's just about everything today from this Jeff Kaplan interview. Lots of cool stuff. Sounds like the new hero is going to be really close, maybe even within the next month or so, with all of the artwork being done already. If you want to see more stuff like this, let us know in the comment section down below. Be sure to smack that like button. It really does help us out, and it lets us know you're enjoying the content. Thank you guys for providing us with the opportunity to be able to do these really cool things. We're glad you really enjoy the content, and if you do, don't forget to hit that bell icon so you get notified when our videos go live. Be sure to have a great day as always. Take care and peace, people.